Was Jesus condemned by the Sanhedrin for the accusation that he was Christ, the Son of the Blessed Father? In fact, when we look at the trial in St. Mark, for example, we see that no one can condemn Jesus because he replied well when questioned, so that at some point Caiaphas took charge of questioning, clearly asking Jesus, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed Father?" And Jesus then answered clearly. It is in chapter 14, verse 62, "I am," replied Jesus, "and you will see the Son of Man sit at the right hand of the Father in heaven, and come with the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "Why do we need a witness? Did you hear the blasphemy? What do you think?" They had all pronounced that he deserved death, and they began to insult him and to spit upon him, etc. What is blasphemy? What? It is absolutely absurd. It is a blasphemy against their own convictions that Jesus is not the Messiah nor the Son of the living God. This means that before they have even got to the theology, they have already opinion upon Jesus, and they will not give up. What evidence was there that he could not be the Messiah? He had healed on the Sabbath, which obviously violates the law of Moses. He didn't always wash his hands before eating at meals. He had also eaten with prostitutes and sinners. Surely the accusation had been saying, so he must prostitute himself among them. He must have been a glutton, etc. They had said this at some point. In reality, it had always been the same accusation. Welcoming the poor sinner did not mean welcoming the person of his sin. We continue to have this debate in the church today with, for example, Pope Francis, who says, "Who am I to judge homosexuals?" Who, as a result, is accused by some of them for being homosexual. It has nothing to do with anything and is irrelevant. Welcoming people in their actual state, faced with their weakness, does not mean that we agree with their sin. This is why the trial by the Sanhedrin had been an unfair trial, because they're in front of Christ, who nevertheless performed thousands of miracles in absolutely indubitable and credible manner. There is even the resurrection of Lazarus, including some of them who had been at the trial, were there and knew he had been dead. It had not been a rigged death. Faced with these arguments, they should have questioned him more, but they did not do so, because Jesus had confronted them and showed them their own sin, and ultimately with their own reasoning. They did not take risks, because if he is the Messiah, the Son of the living God, God will come to his help. When on the cross they had seen that he will not come down from the cross, they had been triumphant. They believed that they had obtained the proof that they were not mistaken to a certain point, until the darkness had recovered. The earth and the curtain of the temple had been torn. There would have been inevitably a terrible fear among some of those who had condemned Jesus. This should therefore be noted that the words of Jesus, "I am the Christ," therefore the anointed one of God, the one who had been sent, "I am the Son of the Blessed One," it does not specify that he is the eternal Son, nor the created Son. But at other times in the Gospel, he said that he was God, born of God, eternal Son, that thirdly he will come in glory in the clouds of heaven, he will appear like so. It is upon these words that Jesus had been condemned. They will therefore have to be treated in theology. These words are undoubtedly the center of all of Jesus' revelation.